Tackling bullying in schools is a major initiative of modern education, but when it comes to finding methods that actually work, there are some that research has found can make the situation worse. Parenting expert Claire Orange is here with us this afternoon. Claire, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Emmy.
Now, firstly, new research has actually found face-to-face meetings with a bully and his or her victim do more harm than good.
Yeah, and I think really what we're talking about there, Emmy, is the very traditional method of managing bullying in schools, which was to do that, was to bring the child who had been bullied and the bully together, and it was a very punitive outcome on that. So, you know, the child would have to recount what had happened to them, which takes them all the way back into the trauma, and then the bully would be punished. And, you know, there's this whole drop-down effect from that where often the child who's been bullied doesn't think the punishment fits the crime, so they go on a revenge spree, and then, you know, the child who is the bully feels resentful and will often bully more. So it's a cycle, it's a very corrosive cycle that happens over and for years in schools.
Now, Claire, what are some methods that you've found work when it comes to resolve bullying between children?
Well, I'd like to talk about two. I'd like to talk about the first one being restorative justice, which has just come out so topically this week in light of all of the bullying incidents that we've heard about in the media, which in the Australian Journal of Education, 25 schools have been involved in a longer-term study about the outcomes of using a mediation-style approach with children. So we do put them together, but we focus on the solution rather than on the problem, and the children come together in a very restorative way, ask very powerful questions to come to a solution that work for both the child who's been bullied and the child who's enacted the bullying.
And there's obviously a number of adults in the room as well.
Absolutely. It's very powerful, it's very directed, and it's very specific work, and the outcomes are amazing for reducing that incidence of bullying in schools, and we cut that cycle out, that need for revenge and the resentment of the bully. So it's wonderful, very powerful work and very supported in our current research. And the second approach that we don't talk about often, we do a lot of hand-wringing now when bullying has happened, is to teach the prevention. So part of the approach that I've co-written is to look at what are some steps that we can teach children, and parents should be teaching these. So we have the 6-step stick up for me, which is a wonderful process of working on tone and voice and body language to effectively reduce bullying in children. So we need every adult involved in a child's life working towards prevention, teaching their children how to stamp out bullying before it's begun. And that again is very powerful work in children's psychology.
It's a very topical issue, Claire Orange. We could go through it all afternoon, but we don't have time, unfortunately. Appreciate your time, though.
Thanks, Amy.